You know the feeling. A conversation ends, and you walk away smaller than when it started. And yet, something was taken.
In this episode, you're going to get a framework from 2,000 years of Stoic observation, 3 patterns, how to see them clearly, and how to respond with a kind of clarity that cannot be manipulated. Stay with us. Welcome to Stoic and Ancient Philosophy. I'm Patrick, and with me, as always, is Gary. This is episode 3. We've been building something across these first weeks, and today we go one layer deeper than we've gone before. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been with us from the start, you already know what's coming.
You've felt it before. Maybe it wasn't a conversation. Maybe it was a room, a specific room with a specific person in it. And the moment they enter, the air changes. Other people don't seem to notice. You wonder if you're imagining it. You're not imagining it. Marcus Aurelius, writing alone in a military tent on the Danube frontier. He wasn't writing for publication. He was writing to himself. And in the opening lines of Book 2 of the Meditations, he does something that stops you cold when you first read it. He prepares himself, at the start of each day, to encounter the full range of difficult human character. His words, "I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil." No outrage, no moral condemnation. The same calm attention a naturalist brings to observing a difficult species in the field. He accounts for it. He adjusts accordingly. He does not stand there and demand that the wolf become a dog.
That's a striking posture. Most men, when they encounter that kind of behavior, the first instinct is either to fight it or to absorb it.
And both responses cost you something. Fighting it gives it power over your interior state. Absorbing it, quietly, over years, costs you something harder to name. The Stoic posture costs you neither, because it begins with clear sight, not naivety, not hatred, precision.
And today we're looking at 3 specific patterns within that larger category. For listeners who weren't with us in episode 1, the link is in the description. We covered the narcissistic pattern in depth there. Today, that's one of 3.
The narcissist, the one who needs the mirror. Every relationship is a reflection. Every conversation returns, eventually, to the same subject. The Machiavellian, the one who runs the calculation. You are a variable. The question is never who are you. It is always what can you do for me, and at what cost. And the third, the one who feels nothing, and uses that as an advantage.
A pattern often described in psychology as psychopathic.
We'll get there, but I want to start with the calculator, because unlike the other 2, he may be sitting across from you at work right now, and you would never know it. The Machiavellian is not a monster. That's the first thing to understand, and the most dangerous thing to forget. He is charming. He is often the most competent person in the room. He reads people with a precision that would be admirable if it weren't entirely in service of one question: what can this person do for me? Every conversation is an audit. Every favor, an investment. Every relationship, a ledger.
And the thing is, most men don't recognize it immediately, because in the early stages, it feels like genuine connection. He remembers your birthday. He shows up when you need him. He seems
invested.
exactly. So when does the pattern become visible?
When the ledger tips. When you stop being useful. The warmth evaporates, not dramatically, not with a fight. It simply recedes, like a tide going out, and you're left standing on the sand, wondering what you did wrong. You did nothing wrong. You simply ran out of value in his calculation. Seneca saw this pattern with surgical clarity. In De Beneficiis, Book 1, Chapter 1, he draws a distinction that cuts straight to the heart of it. His words: "The man who, while he gives, thinks of what he will get in return, deserves to be deceived." There is the man who gives because giving is part of his character, and there is the man who gives only to secure a return. The first is building a relationship. The second is running a transaction. The Machiavellian is typically running a transaction, even when it looks like generosity.
So how does a man protect himself from that? Because you can't exactly walk into every new relationship with a checklist.
No. And that's precisely where Epictetus is useful. Chapter 30 of the Enchiridion. For, in general, this is the rule. Whatever duties are suggested by the relation in which you stand to any person, those are the duties you owe that person. Read that slowly, because what Epictetus is saying is not sentimental. He is saying, define the relationship clearly, and the appropriate response becomes obvious. The Machiavellian's power comes from ambiguity. He keeps the nature of the relationship deliberately unclear. Is he your friend, your ally, your mentor? He will be whatever is most useful to him in this moment. And as long as you cannot name what the relationship actually is, you cannot defend your prohairesis, your moral character, your judgment.
The prohairesis, we touched on this in episode 1, but say it plainly for someone hearing it for the first time.
It is the seat of your will, the faculty that chooses how you respond to what happens to you. The Stoics considered it the only thing that is truly unconditionally yours. The Machiavellian cannot take it from you directly. He cannot reach inside your mind and rewire your values, but he can cloud it. He can engineer your environment, your information, your social circle, your sense of what is normal, until your own judgment begins to work against you. That is his method, not force. Fog.
And the antidote to fog
is definition. Name the relationship for what it is. Apply Epictetus's rule. Ask, what does this person's behavior, not their words, their behavior, tell me about what they believe this relationship to be? The answer is usually clear, and usually uncomfortable.
There's something almost cold about that approach, isn't it?
It is precise. There is a difference. Coldness is indifference. Precision is clarity in service of right action. Marcus Aurelius was not cold. He was one of the most compassionate rulers in Roman history, but he prepared himself every morning to encounter difficult human character, without flinching and without being consumed by it. That is the posture, not armor, clarity.
And if the Machiavellian is the strategist, the one who runs the calculation, what does that make the third figure? The one who doesn't calculate at all.
Most dangerous is not the one you think. The most dangerous man is not the one who calculates. He still needs something from you. The most dangerous is the one who feels nothing, no guilt, no anxiety, only a flawless performance of both.
The third pattern.
The third pattern. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, Book 11, Chapter 18. Consider what kind of men they are at table, in bed, and so forth. under what compulsions in respect of opinions they are, and as to their acts, consider with what pride they do what they do. The Stoic does not observe the warmth, he observes the pattern.
And Epictetus?
Enchiridion, chapter 30. Duties are universally measured by relations, not by charm, not by words, by what a man does, consistently over time. That is discernment, the Stoic antidote to charm.
Which means the tool exists and we can learn it.
In the next segment, exactly that.
So, if the pattern is what reveals them, what does the Stoic actually do with that knowledge?
3 observations. That is the tool. First, what does this person do when there is nothing to gain? Second, what do they do when you make a mistake? Do they correct or do they collect? Third, how do they speak of others when those others are not present?
Not what they say to you, what they do when the stakes are low?
Exactly. The Stoics called it observing the ruling principle, the hegemonikon, not the performance, the underlying faculty. Words can be crafted, the pattern cannot.
And if the pattern answers all 3 questions the same way,
then you have your answer. Not a diagnosis, a Stoic observation, clean and sufficient.
And then what? What does the Stoic do with that?
He reclaims himself. Seneca, Epistulae Morales, Book 1. Vindica te tibi. Reclaim yourself for yourself. Not as war, as a quiet act of sovereignty. You do not owe your presence to a pattern that has already revealed itself.
Vindica te tibi.
In the next episode, we go further. Because knowing the pattern is only the beginning. The harder question is, what do you do when the pattern lives inside your own family?
Thank you for listening. Stoic and Ancient Philosophy. New episodes every Friday.